my mother had a profound impact on my life. She shaped who I am today. My company that you just mentioned, Rani Therapeutics, is named after her. Her name was Rani. And so when I was about 2-3 years old, I was a very destructive boy, apparently. And I used to break everything in the house. And one time I climbed on stools and brought down the big giant clock because I wanted to see how it worked. Another time I destroyed a radio. It was a really big radio, like a cabinet, old style, because I wanted to let those little guys who were sitting inside talking, let them out. And so my mother sat me down and said, you know, I don't like yelling at you or punishing you. You tell me how we can work this out so you don't destroy the whole house. So apparently I have no memory of all this. I told her that anytime you buy anything, get 2 of them, give me one to destroy, and I won't touch the other one. And so she started doing that. And that was, you know, I had license to kill. I was like James Bond. I could destroy anything without any consequence. And that really, the reason it shaped me was, at first I was just breaking them down and couldn't put them back together. But then I started noticing things and started using tools, small, simple tools, and I started putting them back together, and I observed a lot of interesting details. When you break apart something, you see how it's made, how you go inside the head of the person who invented or created it. So I did that throughout my growing up years. I had a lab at home. She gave me a big room, and she said, "This is you can do what you want here." So I really had a charmed upbringing. My father was a physician. He was a general practitioner in a small village on the border of Andhra and Maharashtra, called Bhaisa in Mohan Uttarwar. He's from that same village. Right. So anyway, I decided, to leave India at a very young age. So at age 15, I started writing to universities all over the US and UK, Canada, and all that, English-speaking countries. And I got a whole bunch of application forms. I had a side business. I used to build things and sell them. So I always had some cash. So I used to go to the Reserve Bank, get a $10 cashier's check. Can you imagine? You had to go there, stand in line, get a cashier's check, send it to the university with the application form. It was, I lived in the dark ages. But I finally came to the US, did my undergraduate degree here. I was 18 years old when I came, right after high school. And so engineering was an amazing experience because all these things, I knew how everything worked. When I had taken apart every single thing you can think of. And so engineering, I finished my electrical engineering degree in 2 years, then went on to the medical school while doing a master's in bioengineering. So I was impatient and I didn't like medical school. I decided to not practice medicine. I collaborated with a cardiologist from Johns Hopkins. This was 1979. So his name was Michel Mirowski. He had just lost his best friend, and he said, of sudden cardiac death. And he said, I want to build a wearable defibrillator. People can walk around there at high risk. And, I had been doing some work at the medical school with deep brain stimulation devices that were implantable, and we were implanting them in rhesus monkeys to study different structures in the brain. So I said, well, why don't we do it as an implantable defibrillator? He said, how can that be done? Can you put that much energy? And I said, I don't know, but if it doesn't violate the laws of nature or physics, yes, it can be done. Now, let me back up. While I was an undergraduate student, I started my first company. How did that happen? I got a credit card in the mail, $500 limit, along with 3 or 4 checks, blank checks. You all remember that used to happen. So I started a company, formed a subchapter as a corporation, and it was a security company. And long story short, I decided I was going to use some of the money and then make money and return it, but long and short of it is I went on a payment plan with the credit card company, $10 a month, which I couldn't afford. But a year later, a very good friend of mine, Anil Kalyanpur, he was Suman Kalyanpur's nephew, and he looked at what I had created, the security system. He said, that looks like hell. No wonder your company failed. I'm a packaging engineer, brilliant packaging engineer. He worked for Revlon. He said, let's restart it. So we called it Meercal. And he said, this time, let's get 8 credit cards. Which was a really brilliant idea. He said, 4, we will withdraw the money from 4, invest that, and we'll use the money from the others. Ponzi scheme. Madoff did that, And again, a year later, I was on a payment plan, and he was on a payment plan. So this third time, when Michel Mirowski says, let's start this company, I said, look, I'm not going to get any more credit cards. He said, what the hell are you talking about, credit cards? I told him the story. He said, you're crazy. We're going to go and raise money. So at that time, we had not, 79, I had not heard of venture capitalists. There were none on the East Coast. So he said, we'll go to wealthy people and companies. So he had a lot of connections, so he found a company in Pittsburgh, a medical device company that made angiographic injectors, Medrad. I'm sure you guys have seen those machines in hospitals. They decided they would invest. They asked me to come up with a plan and a budget. Now imagine, I've never taken a single business course. I do this, lost 2 companies, didn't have any concept of money. So I did this plan and I came up with a budget of $100,000. I was kind of scared to ask for so much money. And they looked at that and said, no, this is not going to work. It's going to take $500,000. And I said, okay. So I had $500,000 in a brand new company. And we developed the first implantable defibrillator. And it was acquired by Eli Lilly 1985, $27 million of investment later. $500,000 really didn't go that far. So that was my first company. After selling that, I came to California and have been building companies ever since. So I've built. I was really attracted to the most difficult problems, unsolved problems. I wasn't interested in coming up with some incremental improvement. So, another thing along the way, my home in Pittsburgh was robbed by a realtor. In those days, I had the house on the market. They had a brass lockbox on the door with the house key. Came in when I was in California looking for a home. I go back, my stereo system was gone. So I was quite pissed off. And so I said, okay, this is a problem to solve. So I started a company and developed a electronic lockbox that automatically repeats. So all the lock boxes you see there, I'm the culprit. And then I went into cardiology. I had sort of done a lot of work in cardiac electrophysiology, started cardiac pathways, and that we pioneered the whole area of endocardial mapping and ablation, and sold the company to Boston Scientific. Those catheters are still used, 30 years later. And then physiometrics, I did depth of anesthesia monitoring, Vitamed, BPH therapy using radiofrequency energy. I'm forgetting a couple of companies in between. OrthoSurge, another cardiology company where we pioneered embolic protection during interventional cardiology procedures. And then an ultrasound imaging company, I'm missing another one, and a chronic pain. But 850 at last count. And these companies are built on intellectual property, right? So, I developed a really cool chronic pain therapy, which is now widely used. We sold the company to St. Jude, and that got acquired by Abbott. So their market made it. It's a implantable stimulation device that stimulates the dorsal root ganglia. So if you have pain in the knee or the foot or anywhere below the neck, you find the DRG where the sensory signals are going in place of microelectrode implantable, and you tickle it at the right frequency, and you can completely block the pain without any paresthesia.
What is it called?
So,
What is it called?
I don't know what they call it now. Abbott sells it, so they're making hundreds of millions of dollars. Rani Therapeutics is a robot. So I was having lunch with the CEO of Eli Lilly. He had come to see me, and he said, "I said, what brings you to the Bay Area?" He said, we had made a big investment in a small biotech company that was going to convert parathyroid hormone for osteoporosis into a pill. And he said, but they couldn't get any bioavailability, less than 0.5%, most of the time 0%. So I left that meeting and I said, wait, and I realized that there were like 100 biotech drugs, biologics, therapeutic antibodies, and all kinds of peptides. They're all injected, self-injected, most of them. Some of them were IV injections. And so I said, okay, why not inject them in the intestine? You don't have the same kind of sharp pain receptors your skin does. So I my hypothesis was to create a pill that would go safely past the stomach into the small intestine, transform itself into an injection, deliver a pain-free injection into the intestinal wall, disintegrate and pass out. So that is what Rani Therapeutics is. So you can go online and they have a video. Oh yeah. So that's one of the ones I forgot. So after 9/11, I started thinking, and I'm sure a lot of people were thinking about how to protect airports and other places. So I came up with what's used now, body scanner, where you go there and scans your body and creates a 3D holographic image through your clothes. And so it's one of the most reliable ways to screen
Your mom
people.
would be so proud of you.
She is. She's looking down and smiling. So that's the story of my life. And now I'm working on a really interesting couple of companies. One is for glioblastoma, multiform, and repurposing a lung cancer drug that has really amazing efficacy. And another company that where I'm just it's a incretin secretagogue. Those of you who are physicians, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, it causes the release of incretins like GLP-1, GIP, PYY, and all that from the intestines, so that it has the potential of reversing type 2 diabetes. And by creating endogenous things, instead of injecting yourself with GLP-1 and injections or whatnot. I'm really excited about that. I've been experimenting on myself and on my wife, so I've got some So anyway, I won't keep you. I know you all have to go home. Thank you.